Will be Dave Page. He is the senior architect of the product, and it's his brainchild. Any deeper questions you might have about the product, he's here to answer those questions. So the idea of Postgres Enterprise Manager is Postgres adoption has been growing for a long time. It is a de facto open source database that you would go to if you wanted to replace your commercial RDBMS, right? It has all the features, it has the stability, it has performance, and it has a great community behind it. And for a few years now, there has been a great commercial support also provided behind Postgres in the name of EnterpriseDB, Second Quadrant, Omni TI, and whatnot. So Fujitsu, every big name is getting behind Postgres now because Postgres is a very well-polished, great product. So now with all this adoption comes new challenges of managing such a database, managing database that has been deployed in many locations within your organization. So Postgres Enterprise Manager is a product that is targeted towards managing large deployments of your Postgres databases. So in these graphs, these are graphs from some analysts. One on the right is from the Forrester Research. It shows how the database adoption has been growing. And with growth of database adoption within the organization, the data grows within the organization, the load on the database administrator grows to manage that, and it becomes more and more difficult with rudimentary tools. So as the database adoption within the organization grows, you need better tools to manage that database. And that's what Enterprise Manager is targeted at right now. So more open source databases being adopted, more of Postgres being adopted right now, and that's where Enterprise Manager is coming in. It's an enterprise class database management tool designed for perform management en masse for Postgres and Postgres Plus servers. So Postgres Plus, it's a derivative of Postgres. It's a bundling of Postgres and all its tools around it. And Enterprise Manager will manage all the Postgres installations in your organization. It is available with the subscription. That means if you subscribe to Postgres Plus subscription, Postgres Plus or Postgres Plus Advanced Server, you get Postgres Enterprise Manager with it, with that subscription. But if you wanted to not have that subscription of Postgres Plus, you can ask for a Postgres Enterprise Manager subscription separately. That's cheaper alternative to just buying the whole Postgres Plus subscription. These are the key features of Postgres Enterprise Manager. First one is SQL Profiler, a tool or a product that Dave Page is quite proud of because it can help you diagnose and tune your queries, the slow queries. You can run or attach a SQL Profiler to a session, to a database, to a user saying, okay, I want to diagnose all the queries being run by this user or on this database. And it will give you a session of all the queries that are going to the database. It will show you the log of them, how long it took, how much resource consumption was done during that time and all. And it can even integrate, it is integrated with Index Advisor also. So you can click on a query, say, show me the index advisors, so it will show you the indexes that you can create to speed up those queries. The next is Capacity Manager. It helps you plan ahead of time. You can draw the graphs and see how the database is growing in terms of CPU consumption, in terms of space consumption, in terms of IO consumption. And those graphs can help you plan ahead of time saying, okay, 2 months down the line or 6 months down the line, I need to add more resources to my machine so that my Postgres keeps running smoothly. You have Postgres Expert. It's a database administrator in a box. It's a DBA in a box service. What it does is we have certain rules, certain conditions that need to be met for a well-performing database from configuration perspective and schema tuning, etc. So all of that knowledge base that we have is integrated into Postgres Expert. What you can do is you can click on a schema, you can click on a database or a host itself and say, this is a static analysis, and do a static analysis, give me a recommendation what I need to do so that I don't have to go and ask a DBA what I should be doing. So it gives you a recommendation, it gives you explanation also why this recommendation is being given to you. You have alerting built into it so that you can configure alerts on when certain conditions are reached within the database, when a database size grows out of a certain threshold or a table grows out of a certain threshold, sequential scans are being performed on a table that you were not expecting, or too many checkpoints happening, any kind of activity that can be monitored in the database, you can create alerts on that, and these alerts will show you if something's wrong with your database and you have high, low, and medium thresholds. In the version 1, we have alerting in the GUI itself, in the client itself, but in the next iteration of the database in this product, we are integrating SMTP notifications and SNMP notifications also. And last feature of this is a dashboard. Certain dashboards for I/O analysis, for your server analysis, a global dashboard that shows you how many alerts are going off, what level they are at. You can get a higher level picture of all your database installations from these dashboards. So this is a high-level architecture of the Postgres Enterprise Manager. Here on the left-hand side, we have managed hosts. So each one of those is a host machine. You can have multiple databases on each host. So for each host, you should have an agent running, and those agents can monitor and manage databases on that host. And you can even have unmanaged hosts, because this product is built on top of pgadmin, the most popular database GUI admin tool for Postgres, and it has been integrated as a plugin into that. So you can do all of those things that pgadmin can do, plus you can do Postgres Enterprise Manager management also. So this is how it works. You have PEM server and central server, which all the agents running on those managed hosts are sending their data back to the PEM server, central server, and the client, the GUI client, connects to the PEM server and gets all the data from it. And the alerting, etc., is running on the PEM server, so that overhead is not thrown onto the managed host. The only thing that runs on the managed host is the PEM agent and all the probes that are configured in that agent. So this is the high-level architecture. And instead of squeezing in all the screenshots into the slides, I have screenshots of the product. Any questions until this time? So later on in the day, Dave and Tom Kincaid from EnterpriseDB, they'll be doing a detailed demo of the product, and you can attend the detailed demo also. But here are some screenshots to give you an overview of all those features. So this is the global overview. This tells you how many agents are up. Agent represents a host, and how many servers are up. So in this scenario, we had three hosts configured with 3 agents, and they had 3 database servers on them. And you can see that the global overview shows you that currently this icon tells you whether there are any alerts or not at the global level. And on the left-hand side, you can see the familiar interface for the pgadmin that you can use. And the PEM integrates into that management menu that you see on the top. From that, you can pull out all the activities that you want to do with PEM. So this is the capacity manager. What it does is it shows you on the left-hand side all the in tree node, all the managed hosts. You can drill down into any of those at any level, saying, okay, I want metrics at the host level, or I want the metrics at the database level, etc. And you can include those metrics to be included in the report. And the different kinds of metrics that you can use are like space used for a database, space used at host level for a database, for a table, etc. And this is the kind of report that you'll get. What it shows you is that over this period of time, you had your space consumed is increasing, space free is decreasing, and the space consumed by one of the databases is increasing constantly. The capacity manager also has the capability of forecasting it into the future. So you can say that, okay, my start time is today, or maybe 2 weeks ago, or maybe 2 months ago, but my end time is 6 months from now. Show me what's my database going to look like. And you can choose those options, or you can choose the threshold, saying, okay, when is my database going to grow out of 10 GB or beyond 10 GB? So you can choose a threshold and the same options. And you can see that for the same options, but 6 months into the future, you can see how your database is going to grow, so you can add more capacity to those machines if they are running out of resources.
Quick question, sorry to interrupt. The screenshot suggests that it runs on Windows. Is it running on other interfaces too, like Mac, Linux?
Windows and Mac are the current supported platforms for the GUI,
Yes.
but just the GUI is supported on Macintosh and Windows, but not on Linux yet. No?
Windows and Linux, not on Mac.
Not on Mac. I'm sorry.
You can, the client runs on Windows and Linux, but you can monitor servers that are running on Windows, Linux, Solaris, and within a few weeks HPUX as well.
Yeah, this will be uploaded onto the wiki. Yeah.
What does the PEM server run on?
So it's actually a database server plus an installation of Apache PHP that's distributed by EnterpriseDB.
But I mean, what OSs? We currently support Windows and sorry? Windows and Linux. Yeah.
Which kind of Linux?
Oh,
All Linux platform or some specific one?
There's a whole bunch of them that will run on all the modern Red Hats, Ubuntu.
Okay. Debian.
Sorry?
Debian.
That's not actually one we test, but there's no reason it shouldn't work actually.
So for the benefit of the recording and people on the internet, the questions were what platforms are supported for the GUI client and what are the platforms supported for the PEM server. So the answer is Linux and Windows currently, and in the future HPUX will also be supported for the server. Is that right?
For the agent.
For the all right, sorry, for the agents. So right. Excuse me. And this is the interface for Postgres expert. You have three types of experts. One is a configuration expert. It will tell you, it will advise you on the proper configuration of the parameters. The second is a schema expert. That means it looks at your schema, the tables, views, etc., and tells you if there is something wrong or something that needs to be corrected. And then there is security expert that tells you if something needs to be addressed at SSL level or the certificate, like certificate authentication or trust authentication, if anything is misconfigured. So you can choose any kind of advice that you need, and you can choose which hosts or which databases you want to run this expert against. And this is the kind of report that you'll get. So these are the links. I don't think I have a screenshot with expansion, but if you click on those blue links, it's actually a HTML report. You can even generate it and store it on the disk. If you click on that, it will show you what are the recommended settings or what is the recommended range and why this was recommended that, okay, this is a low security level risk or medium or a high security level risk. So you can click on those and you can get an explanation of or an idea of what needs to be corrected and take corresponding action. So this is mostly what we used to do as part of health checks that we go to clients to, and this has all been like packaged into this one expert. This is the SQL profiler. It lets you run a trace on the database, on a running database, and it will create a log of all the queries and let you see the resource consumption on that. So it can create a new trace. That means it will attach to a database, it will run a new trace, or you can open an existing trace, older one, and run analysis on that too. So this is the configuration of the SQL trace, what databases or what users you want to run it as, or which users' queries do you want to trace, and on which databases on those hosts. And you have to name a trace, how large the trace can be, because it can run into megabytes or even gigabytes if you don't control it. And after running the trace, you have this interface wherein you can choose the queries. You have all the queries that went through as that user on that database. It shows you the visual plan. If you want, interested or so inclined, you can even look at the text-based plan. On the left hand, lower left hand, you have the metrics that were gathered when this query was being run. So these are not directly correlated, but CPU consumption, IO consumption at the OS level, etc., they are all shown over there, and you can see what was going on when that query was running. In the view menu, you have the index advisor, so you have to select a query, and you can click on the index advisor to see if some new index can help your query run faster. So currently this is a standard PG bench schema that I was running with, and these are very simple select, update, insert queries affecting single rows and all. So currently it won't, like for my case, it did not recommend any indexes, but you can look at the index advices that it gives. It won't create the index for you because it's a big decision, because it impacts your production environments. So creating indexes is not integrated into it, because generally that's not a good idea. But it will even give you a SQL statement to say that, okay, how to create that index. And you can run that index if you so choose to do. And these are the different types of dashboards that are available. So you can see I clicked on a database node over there, EDB database, and I clicked on dashboards. So you can see the different kinds of dashboards that are available: IO analysis, database analysis, object activity, alerts dashboard, etc. So you can dive deeper into those interfaces to see what's going on with your database and interfaces. We come to the alerts dashboard. You can see for this database or this host, there are no alerts. But if I click on this right icon, lower right icon, I see there are 3 alerts over there. Because those were configured alerts. Now this takes us to the alert configuration. I haven't shown you the alert configuration, but this is an interface that shows you something's wrong or something's going wrong right now. And this is how you can click on a node on a host or a database or a table or an index or anything that can be configured for alerting, and you can go to the alerting interface. And this is how you configure the alert, saying, okay, this is my alert name. So you can see for that host, there are already 3 alerts configured, and I'm configuring a new alert called sequential scan alert. So what I want to do is every time for the last 15 minutes, if within the last 15 minutes there are more than 200 sequential scans in that database, I will get a low-level alert. If it goes beyond 500 scans within 15 minutes, I'll get a medium level. If it goes beyond 700, I'll get a high-level alert. So I'll get an alert saying, okay, something's going wrong. You did not expect to run like 700 sequential scans, but there are those many sequential scans running within the last 15 minutes, so something needs to be corrected. So that's alerting. And back to the overview page. Sure.
So what the profiler, is it all that we get from the profiler, or there is additional analysis like profiling your individual operation within the query? Suppose we have a complex query with, I don't know, joining 5 tables, and I want to know where my time goes in executing that particular query.
Right.
So is that the only information you get now?
No, that's all.
Like
at the high-level query level. Right. So at the high level only. Yeah, go ahead.
You can, for each individual query, you can browse either the text-based query plan or the graphical query plan, both of which will show you how the query was planned by Postgres to allow you to view the costs associated with each node within the plan. So you can see the sequential scan on table A took so long, cost so much, on table B.
Yeah, that's nice. But for long-running queries, if you want to profile their execution time that they're running, usually the plan is based on statistics, and then I'll be after it. So you may want to see why the query is running that slow. And I was wondering if it's, because it said it's for running queries, so I was thinking that, there is an ability to target it directly. Here is where the time is being spent at the moment. Here is,
Well, for each query that runs it records the times that the query was run for. It also gives you aggregate statistics, so you can say this particular query ran 23 times. It was responsible for 90% of the I/O during the trace period.
Okay.
So you can get quite a good overview of what happened what the workload was like during the trace period, and it can obviously help you drill down and figure out what you need to optimize.
So this is not really this is based on trace information. You need to collect the trace information and then do the analysis.
Right, yeah.
I have overshot the time allotted, so any other questions?
What is profiler? What overhead of profiler you have on server?
It's pretty low. We spend a lot of time designing the code that does the logging such that it's very, very lightweight.